If you lost your mother to death, or if your mother was emotionally absent or narcissistic, then you have missed the nurturing care of a mother. As we'll explore in this podcast, Nurturing Words, Voices of Experience, being a motherless daughter means being part of a club that no one wants to be in. The good news is while you are unique, you are not alone. What if we told you Motherless Daughters Ministry has 20 years worth of pearls of wisdom to help you on your mother loss journey? It's true, and we are sharing all of these pearls with you through this very podcast, Nurturing Words, Voices of Experience, sponsored lovingly by Motherless Daughters Ministry.
Hi, I'm Gladys Bell, your host, and welcome to episode number 65 of Nurturing Words, Voices of Experience. Today's Voice of Experience is ministry blogger Heather Wolper, who has authored 25 blogs in our library. We are sharing 2 of her blogs that have a foundation in her relationship with God, a special scripture, and keys to surviving the grief journey. We hope you will stay tuned, share with others, and give us a review. Bringing Beauty from Ashes, written in 2016. As another year draws to a close, I pause. Another 12 months have come and gone. Another 365 sunrises and sunsets have lit and darkened the sky above. And here we are. Some of us have experienced great joy, and some of us have faced our deepest pain. As I think back on the last year, I am struck that some of my greatest blessings have been born out of the greatest pain. This has been a refining year, a year of peeling away and filing off rough edges to find beauty beneath the ashes. It has been a year to fix my eyes on the horizon of God's sovereignty and trust that whatever may come, He is good and righteous and holy. It has been a year to bring darkness into light and prune away dark, broken branches that bear no fruit. It has been a year for hard walls of pride to come crumbling down in order to dig deep and rebuild on a humble foundation. It has been a year to cling to prayer instead of judgment. It has been a year to learn to be still when I wanted to act and listen when I wanted to speak. It has been a year to see messy moments as beautiful opportunities for God's grace to abound. This year, when disappointment threatened to steal my joy, He whispered, "I will never leave you or forsake you." When discouragement threatened to rob my peace, He whispered, "I am close to the brokenhearted." When anger threatened to inflict hurt, He whispered, "Not your way, but mine." When pride tempted me to choose being right over loving well, He gently reminded me that the greatest commandment is love. When insecurity whispered that I am not enough, He whispered that He is enough. When hope disappeared beneath the weight of weariness, He gently whispered, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." When blessing and busyness threatened to distract me, He was faithful to remind me how much I need Him. As this year draws to a close, I am overwhelmed with thanksgiving for God's faithfulness in using each messy, heartbreaking, beautiful, imperfect moment to teach me that He is enough, that His grace is made perfect when I am weak, and that He will never leave me or forsake me. Dear friend, as this year draws to a close, I want to encourage you that whether this year has brought great blessing or great pain, or has been unremarkable, God has been with you, loving you, whispering to you, and longing for you. As a new year is about to begin, how will you invite him into your messy, heartbreaking, beautiful, imperfect moments?
We're going to take a 30-second break. We'll be right back.
Mother loss is a lifelong grief journey. The scars go deep and the pain is relentless. It affects every aspect of a woman's being, regardless of age of loss or how the loss occurred. The hole is deep and filled with many emotions. You are invited to our online support community with the Motherless Daughters Ministry online support groups, focusing on the journey and the difficult obstacles that get in the way of healing. To learn more about our weekly support group offerings, visit us online at motherlessdaughtersministry.com.
The second blog, entitled He Makes Beauty Out of Ashes, was written in 2021. I'm no stranger to grief. Over the years, she has settled in and become as familiar as the feeling left by side-splitting laughter or a chat with a dear friend. Over the years, I've grieved diagnoses and death, the loss of parents and babies, and friendships and jobs. I've grieved painful circumstances and unfulfilled dreams, unmet expectations, and painful betrayals. I've willed my body out of bed on especially hard mornings and cried myself to sleep with missing at night. I've waded through days in a fog of heartache and navigated the yearning of circumstances I can't change. And there, deep in the middle of seasons of grief, I've discovered who my people are. They are kind and lovely and don't shy away from hard and messy circumstances which make many folks run away. They come bearing casseroles and magazines and games to entertain children. They don't say, "Let me know how I can help." But they see what you need, and they do it before you know to ask. These people aren't born in a vacuum. They are born through the long, painful labor of their own loss and suffering. In her years of studying grief, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross observed, quote, "The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep, loving concern." Unquote. These beautiful people are grace givers. They are listeners. They are ready to lay down an afternoon of plans to serve a friend or a neighbor who is struggling. They don't give pep talks or platitudes, but are willing to sit beside you in the pit of your own despair. These beautiful people hold out their hands to help you stand on your wobbly legs and take the first step forward into a new normal. So, dear friend, if you are knee-deep in a season of grief today, I pray you'd be surrounded by a tribe of beautiful people who have been refined by their own grief and suffering. And I pray that you'd know that beauty is waiting on the other side of grief. Quote, "To all who mourn in Israel, he will give a crown of beauty for ashes, a joyous blessing instead of mourning, festive praise instead of despair. In their righteousness they will be like great oaks that the Lord has planted for his own glory." Unquote. Isaiah 61:3. Heather shared her testimony of a journey that is difficult to describe. While grief is sad, depressing, and at times dark, as a Christian believer, there is the foundation of our hope in the promises of God. If you do not subscribe to those beliefs, take it as an account of her experience and an option to consider. But know that there are multiple thousands of us who can testify of the same. When the people and things we typically depend on are not available, the comfort of the Scriptures and the promises of God are sure. He promised never to leave or forsake us. You can find scriptures about that at Hebrews 13:5 and Deuteronomy 31:6 and 8. And the scripture Heather quoted from the book written by the prophet Isaiah is in the 3rd verse of the 61st chapter. Verses 1 through 3 in the New Living Translation read, quote, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me, for the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim that captives will be released and prisoners will be freed. He has sent me to tell those who mourn that the time of the Lord's favor has come, and with it the day of God's anger against their enemy. To all who mourn in Israel, He will give a crown of beauty for ashes, a joyous blessing instead of mourning, festive praise instead of despair. In their righteousness they will be like great oaks that the Lord has planted for His glory." Unquote. The initial shock of loss is filled with a flood of emotions and feelings. The first blog, Bringing Beauty from Ashes, includes the terms darkness, pride, messy, dry, broken, disappointment, discouragement, anger, insecurity, and weariness. But with each of those words, she told about what she was able to hold on to survive, how God responded to her, and what she learned in the process. 5 years later, Heather revisited that same scripture, still meaningful in her journey. This time, the focus was on the support God provided for her through others. In my own journey, I called them God's angels, my inner circle, who yet are pillars of support in my journey. These giants enable us to put one foot in front of the other to survive. Unsung and many times overlooked, their stories, unsung and many times overlooked, the stories of their firm foundation are usually tucked away, but known unto us who benefit from their experience. Their own journeys are what made them the powerful supporters they became. They do not toot their own horns, but simply, quietly move about as movers and shakers of our grief journey. Additionally, another ministry blogger wrote a blog entitled, quote, "Restoration, Beauty from Ashes," unquote. The title references the same scripture from Isaiah 61. The focus here is on the courage God gave her to acknowledge her need and ask for the help she needed. This led her to an inner circle in the form of 2 great support groups that lightened her load and put her on a path toward healing. God used that support to break down the barriers to her peace. Both of these bloggers put forth a lot of effort. They stepped out, did things that required them to do some emotional work. They took steps forward although they were afraid. They courageously took the initiative to get support, encouraged by God. Most of us will take a feared step if we are assured someone is committed to go with us. For those who don't get it, you will as you experience loss. For the rest of us, these 2 blogs totally resonate with us. We get it. We understand the power of faith in our survival. We get it and understand the power of faith in our survival. For those with questions, you have a standing invitation to explore the options presented. We are all survivors, all of us. You are part of a very large community traveling the same path. And remember, you are not alone.
If you are in need of more nurturing words, we encourage you to listen to our other episodes. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you can join us next time. We don't want to miss you. We have many Motherless Daughter resources on our website at www.motherlessdaughtersministry.com. You can also find us on our YouTube channel and Facebook at Motherless Daughters Ministry, where you will find support from over 10,000 women. We hope you'll come visit us, and we look forward to joining us next time.